All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, my sound looks like it should be working. I got a new mic, so let me know if you guys can hear me and it sounds good. Because, yeah, I'm just starting this. Let's see. Get my setup good so that I can see if there's any comments. All right. Okay, so hello, I'm Cinta Danu. So, I am a professional psychic and astrologer with over 16 years of study and over 8 years of having my own business where I've been doing this professionally. So, I've been taking some time to learn about this for a very long time. And I've been doing this as my own business for quite some time as well now. So, welcome to the Daily Destiny Download. So, this is a brand new project that I'm starting. So previously I did Celestial Guidance, which was like a once a week live event on Facebook. So the plan is to do the Daily Destiny Download on a regular basis, right? This is for every day around 1 o'clock. And so this is a new experiment to see if, my people enjoy this, if this works for them. So this is new. This is the first one. So happy New Year's, of course. And thank you for stopping by. I'm super excited for the things that we're going to talk about today because this is going to be a whole new experience. And so the Daily Destiny Download is a daily cosmic reset for mind, body, and spirit, right? So the purpose of the daily download is for us to get grounded and get those destiny downloads on, what our next steps should be, and being clear and grounded, connected to the celestial realms and the 3D so that we can actually take our spiritual knowledge and put it into practice. That's something that I really like to focus on, is not only just all this spiritual information and spiritual growth, but being actually able to apply it practically to our lives, which is really difficult. So that's something that this little daily download is for, is let's start actually putting into practice what we're learning spiritually and grounding that energy. I know that a lot of people who are spiritual or empaths or just really psychic and tapped into the intuitive realms, they have a very, very hard time grounding. And this comes from personal experience as well. Like, I have always been very sensitive, very intuitive. So for me, grounding was really difficult. I spent a lot of time in the higher realms when I was younger and didn't have a lot of control on my physical reality very much because I was always in the spiritual realms when I was a child. So now, after being adult for some time, I've had some time to go the opposite direction and really ground and really get used to being in the physical world and not so much in the spiritual all the time. And after having my business for so long, I've kind of started to balance those two things where it's like both being grounded and in the spiritual world on a pretty constant and regular basis. And so that's what this is for, is to help you do that. So plus, it's very good for me to also practice it because I'm always in the spiritual realm. I really need to be able to ground it. So, because my energy is just very naturally in the spirit realms because I'm very heavy water in my chart. So I'm very connected to divinity and stuff constantly. So it's very hard for me to ground. And I've become a lot better at it for sure. But it's good to always practice that when you're just a very spiritual person or an empath or very psychic. So let's see. So the first thing I wanted to do today is an astrological attunement. So right now, the moon is in Aquarius for today. So it's a little past 1 o'clock on January 1st, right? So Happy New Year. This is a really great time for new beginnings, especially because we had that new moon in Capricorn just a couple days ago. So this is a really good time to ground, especially these higher knowledge, like spiritual knowledge that comes from Uranus. Really great time to ground that right now. So the moon is in Aquarius, which is very... Aquarius is all about breakthroughs. It has a lot to do with reality, but it's about breaking out of restrictions and oppression. It's a lot about freedom by being responsible for yourself. That's really one of the key lessons for Aquarius, in my opinion, is that, the path of total freedom is the path of total responsibility. Now, so this makes this a really good time for us to connect to those higher vibrations. Aquarius is the sign that rules astrology. So a very good time to tap into the astrology and start to ground that, right? Especially with Uranus still going through Taurus. Because I believe it's at those last couple degrees. Let me look at the chart. Yeah, so we're at 23 degrees in Taurus. So I want to help you guys kind of ground that energy. So the first thing we're going to do is this little astrological attunement where we're going to go through and we're going to move that energy through us. All right, especially because the moon is conjunct Pluto, which is a very difficult aspect. If you have aspects from the moon to Pluto in your chart, you probably have a very difficult time with your emotional stability and well-being. So for all of us right now, it's very likely that we are more easily triggered, more easily upset. This is a time where traumas may rise to the surface, where we may be acting very defensive, especially with that opposition to Mars. So there's a lot of potential for conflict, getting triggered, having power struggles with other people. And so it's very important that we step into the positive and lighter side of that for ourselves, right? So Pluto is trauma and power struggles and all these like darker subjects, taboos, etc., right? It's also sex and our darker instincts. These are kind of those like defense mechanisms, the shadow, all of that. Here's the thing though. Pluto is also power, not just power struggles where you're dealing with abuse of power. It can have a lot to do with that, unfortunately, especially when it's a negative aspects to other planets. However, Pluto in your chart represents your own personal power as well. So it's very important for us to step into that, right? That's part of empowerment, stepping into your power, being able to recognize the authority that you have in your life, though slightly different than Saturn in this case, because Saturn's more authority and inner authority and its boundaries, etc. But Pluto's being able to step into that part of yourself that knows that you have power and how to wield it and have control in the physical and spiritual worlds. So it's very important for us to step into that in a positive way, right? By remembering that we do have power over ourselves and our lives, even if just a little bit. There's always a little bit of power, even if it doesn't seem like it. Coming from someone with a lot of power struggles in my chart. So I'm not saying that sometimes there isn't situations where you're a victim or powerless. There definitely is. But there's always a little bit of something you can do, which if you have a lot of Scorpio or Pluto aspects, you will realize that a lot of that is being able to control your own emotions and the emotions of others a lot of times. So, but we want to step into the positive side of that, right? Especially with this new transition with Pluto into Aquarius, where it made its last entrance in our lifetimes into Aquarius in November, around the 19th, I believe. So this is a time to kind of step into that personal power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk us through a little bit of a meditation and energy healing where we're going to bring down the planets, their energy into the body to clear out and clear our channels. Because here's the thing. So the physical body is like an antenna for celestial energies. This is how we're kind of creating and manifesting all the time, is because we are managing the energies from the celestial realms. And the thing is, when we don't do that well, it leads to psychological problems. It leads to physical problems in the body when those energies get stuck or stagnant in the body. So being able to pull down those energies and move them through the body and ground them is very essential, especially if you're a spiritual person, in order to prevent more emotional issues, psychological issues, and physical illnesses that can occur from that. And don't get me wrong, you may not be able to completely rid yourself of a specific disease or anything like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to cure cancer with astrology, okay? so don't expect that this is going to like heal you completely all the way through. It may, however, maybe help to mitigate some of those things, because I believe I read somewhere that like 70% of disease is a result of emotional issues, right? Which has a lot to do with our ability to actually channel these energies in an appropriate manner. So it should help to lessen most issues by doing this on a very consistent basis. But it won't necessarily just get rid of it. I mean, there is spontaneous healing and things like that, but that's not what, I'm trying to do here. At least I can't do that with a giant group of people or from far away. That's just probably not going to happen. I do healing sessions, energy healing sessions. If you are interested in this is something I love to do before a reading, specifically with astrology or tarot, so that we can really clear you before we get into the deeper stuff that we need to talk about. And that's why we're going to do this today. And we're going to ground all this energy first. Okay, so here's the thing. So first, we're gonna calm down. There's a lot of excitement, all right, with all the energies right now. It's the new year. It's very exciting. Moon in Aquarius, conjunct Pluto. Lots of intensity with that, right? Lots of energy, especially because it's now 111. So now we're going to bring the energy down a little bit. We're going to calm it. And we're going to start by taking some deep breaths. So the first thing is I want you to close your eyes, all right? And we're going to take a couple deep breaths just to kind of calm ourselves and get ourselves into a more calm, restful place. And then I'm going to move you through this healing work, okay? So close your eyes and take a deep breath in, out, in, out, in, and the first thing I really want you to do with this energetic work is I want you to move this through your body. All this energy and anxiety that you may be feeling, all the excitement with the new year, I want you to kind of release that, like move it through the body and feel it leaving the head, moving through the chest, moving down through the stomach, through the pelvis, down through the legs, into the feet. And I want you to release all that energy out through your feet into the ground, right? Really, really deep into that ground. And the ground is going to renew this energy. So even if you have some really icky or stagnant or sickly energy, we're letting that into the ground where it can kind of start to compost, right? And renew itself, right? We no longer have to carry that energy. And this is especially important if you're an empath, right? Because we have a tendency to take on other people's emotions and have to manage and transmute them for them, or we choose to do that even unconsciously. So we are going to take all that energy and we're going to let it leave the body, sink out of the body into the ground. So that's the first part of this grounding process that we're going to do. And then I want you to imagine that you have roots sprouting from your feet and going deep, deep into the earth, right? And it's going to go lower and lower and deeper, deeper into the earth. And you're going to see these roots start to wrap around that metal core of the earth, right? And really, really grasp that inner core of the earth with these roots, right, that you've grown. This is you're anchoring yourself to the center of the earth, and you're releasing any leftover energy that no longer serves you. You're releasing that into the center of the earth where it is to be transformed. And you may see this shift or change where you're seeing this dark energy maybe going through these roots deep into the earth, into the core of the earth, and starting to see them start to transform, right? So as you're imagining this transformation, that could be anything. It could be feathers. I like to imagine like butterflies made of fire, like that they're just like these vibrant, transformative beings, and it's this transformative energy that's releasing this energy in a neutral way back into the earth, right? So that's where we're going to send all that darker energy deep into the center of the earth to be transformed and transmuted, no longer having to carry it. But next we're going to start pulling down those healing energies from the higher realms. So we have Pluto conjunct the moon right now, right? The moon is our emotions, our feelings. It's in Aquarius. It has all these beautiful feelings and depth and emotional security related to it. So we're going to kind of step into that part of ourselves that's very open and vulnerable. And we're going to start bringing in that Aquarius energy to that space. So where we have previously maybe felt very restricted emotionally, or we have felt very stuck, stagnant, or like we're carrying a lot of family karma specifically, we're going to start pulling down all that Aquarius breakthroughs and changing energy, right? So what I want you to imagine is a breath of fresh air, like the wind moving, whipping really quickly and bringing in freshness, the feelings of freedom. Imagining yourself maybe on like a sailboat or flying, just very free, open energy of like breakthroughs. And we're bringing that deep into our heart space. So I want you to see that energy of light, playful, free energy. And maybe it's like a light blue or white. See that energy coming down from the celestial realms. So imagine it in the sky above your head, and you're going to bring that through down into your crown chakra first. We're going to fill the crown chakra with these feelings of freedom and breakthroughs, epiphanies, and really bring that into our visual space in our crown chakra to receive those downloads of breakthroughs and freedom. And then we're going to pull it down into our third eye, and this is going to be really getting deep into those visualizations of what freedom means to you, whether it's a sailboat, maybe it's flying, whatever it is that brings these ideas and feelings of freedom, right, of breakthroughs. And then we're going to bring that energy down into the throat chakra so that we can speak from a place of freedom and of insight. So we're bringing that into the throat chakra, seeing the throat chakra fill with these feelings and visuals and energy of freedom. And then we're going to bring that deep into the heart space, right? Especially because the moon is in Aquarius. This is kind of in correlation to our feelings, right? Especially specifically the chest, right? So this is where we're going to really dig deep for those feelings around freedom, really feeling that sense of expansiveness, of breakthroughs, of just really breaking into new territory, and just fill our heart space with that energy and sit with that for a second, these feelings of expansive freedom, right? Of breakthroughs and insight. All right. Now we're going to take this energy and we're going to continue to ground it. So we're going to bring it lower. We're going to bring it into the solar plexus. Pull that energy down. Pull it down into the solar plexus. And when you have this energy there, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe it in. Because this is our center of confidence and how we kind of present ourselves in the world. Now we really want to embody this ability to be free, to be ourselves and be authentic, right? With bringing this energy of freedom into the solar plexus, really digging deep with that, right? Really being able to express ourselves, with our ability to be creative, be able to stand up for ourselves. This is the very center of confidence, right? And this is where we really need to bring this energy in order to start making changes towards these breakthroughs right now. And then we're going to take this energy and we're going to take it and we're going to bring it deeper. All right, we're going to take it to the sacral chakra. This chakra has a lot more to do with pleasure and creativity and relationships. So we're bringing that freedom and that independence into our relationships in a healthy way and into our center of pleasure, allowing ourselves to take joy in breakthroughs and freedoms and insights and our spiritual knowledge, right? And then we're going to ground that energy even further. We're going to bring it into the root chakra. Right? This is where we're really starting to ground this energy. This is the chakra around security, around feelings of safety as well as insecurity and fear, right? So we're going to bring that sense of freedom, that sense of expansiveness and a fresh breath of air, this feeling of freedom and breakthroughs and insights and genius. We're going to bring that into the root chakra and just fill the root chakra with these feelings of deep peace and freedom and play, kind of releasing some of the fear around breaking out of the past, breaking out of these karmic cycles, right? And then we're going to ground this energy, going to bring it through the legs, into the feet, and pull it deep into the earth, because we are grounding not just in us these celestial energies, right? We're grounding it into the earth and the energetic earth grid itself, and we're going to bring it all the way down, bring all that excitement, all that freedom, all those insights, all those beautiful imagery that we've been going through. We're going to bring it all the way down into the core of the earth to anchor it in, right? Okay, so now that we've anchored that celestial energy and done some energetic healing around it, we're going to pull up some of that earth energy, right? Because we're connecting to both worlds. We're connecting to that deep earth realm, but we're also connecting to the spiritual realm. So I want you to imagine this dark earth energy. Maybe it's a deep brown, like deep brown or a brown red, but very earthy energy, right? And you're going to feel it coming up through your roots, all this nutritious, deep, grounded energy coming up through your roots, into your feet, through the legs. Bring it into the root chakra, bringing that sense of groundedness and peace and safety and security. We're going to bring that up through the sacral chakra. We're going to bring it up into the solar plexus, up through the heart chakra, up into the throat chakra, up through into the third eye, up through the crown chakra, and then we're going to go way, 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 way up into the sky, bringing that energy all the way to the stars, wrapping around the stars and the celestial, branching out like a tree. Very much now we have entered kind of the tree of life. We are both now connected our roots to the deepest part of the earth, and we have connected our crown chakra to the highest realms. So now we are very much in alignment with both celestial energy and earth energy. This is a great place to be both spiritually aware and grounded at the same time. So this moves us to the next part of this. So I want to do like an energetic check-in. Now that we've kind of connected ourselves to both the lower realms and higher realms, we need to really kind of check in with our energy about like kind of what's keeping us from our destiny, what's blocking us right now, what needs to be resolved before we can fully take our next step and continue on our path. So this is an energetic check-in. This is to reflect and redirect and realign. So now that we are feeling very much alignment in our physical and emotional and mental bodies, now it's time to see, okay, what's been kind of blocking the centers before this? What needs addressed right now before we can move forward? So I'm just shuffling the cards before we get into this. So this is going to be like a 11 card spread approximately. So we're going to get a really good understanding of exactly what it is that's getting in the way. So it's very, much more grounded, centered, sitting in that heart space, focusing more on connection, all right? Connection, I feel like, is a really big thing. something that a lot of spiritual people need to learn. I feel we focus a little too much on trying to compare ourselves, but the answer to that is spending more time focusing on connecting, right? We're going to stay connected to our heart space. Let's shuffle the cards and see what's the energy right now. What needs addressed? What wisdom awaits us? Let's see the Nine of Pentacles. That's a pretty good sign. Very abundant, right? Hard work paying off. Mastery. Accomplishment. Being able to take care of yourself and others. Very motherly. Like earth energy. Let's see. So what is it that we need to know right now? What is it that my collective needs to know? Deep breaths. Thankfully, now that we're centered, we should be able to receive this information a lot more easily, because today is a very triggering day, so it's very important that we ground ourselves before we look into the spiritual realm. Interesting. Okay. So I'm getting very fire sign energy, so you could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. If not, you might still have a lot of fiery energy to you. You may be very passionate, outgoing, dynamic, intense, action-oriented, very physical, someone who really likes to get out and do things and get things done. Maybe not always in the most efficient way possible, but you're a go-getter, you're a risk taker. You want to make sure that things are happening. There might also be a lot of focus on self, potentially. Not necessarily in a negative way. It could be that you're very focused on yourself and your personal growth. But there's a lot of movement here. I'm getting very Sag vibes. So I'm getting someone who's very adventurous, very passionate, someone who likes to go out and explore the world, who's always down for a journey. So definitely very, very deep Sag vibes with this. Someone who's very passionate, who has a lot of love to give, a lot of fire, a lot of feistiness, and just really adventurous. And I'm getting a little bit of warrior spirit, but I'm getting more spiritual warrior than just someone who's always ready for a fight. This is more like you're willing to fight for what matters. This is a sense of purpose. Interesting. So what's working for you is you're pretty deep. You are a pretty deep person. You've got a lot of emotional depth. You're probably an empath. You get a lot of messages from spirit. There's a lot of spiritual wisdom here. There's a lot of spiritual journeying. I'm getting the sense that you've been on the spiritual journey for some time now, so you're not just a newbie. So that's really interesting. And I'm getting something about like gardening or herbs, some kind of connections to plants and the earth in some way. Maybe this has been like a vehicle for spiritual growth for you somehow. But yeah, this is very... like... you may not have a handle on your emotions completely, but you're definitely on the path to doing so. You've been on this journey for some time. What's not working for you, what's kind of working against you is, okay, you've been off your path, so no wonder you're here. You need to get back into alignment because you've been off your path for some time. It seems like you're probably, even though you've been on a spiritual journey for some time, it seems like there's some kind of block, or that you've gotten off the path temporarily, or you've spent a lot of time really grounding and really focusing on the physical. And that could also be it as well, is that you're too focused on the physical results and trying to look for the results and the fruits of your spiritual labor. You're not focusing enough on the internal and emotional results of your labor. So that definitely I'm getting the sense that you need to go more inward. You're spending a little bit too much time thinking about the physical and the physical world and what everyone else wants and everyone else needs and things. Okay, and you're feeling really stuck right now. So things are going really slowly. They may feel like they're not moving at all. You may feel like incredibly stagnant, like things are going at like a snail's pace, right? And it just feels like everything's really stuck and stagnant and cold, like there's not a lot of movement or growth or progress. There's just this feeling of things not progressing, right? So there's a lot of frustration here, especially because I feel like this sense, again, more Sagittarius vibes, but it feels like you really want to move and progress and go on adventures and go out and do things, but right now it feels like you're stuck, kind of like being stuck in the mud somewhere, or like, you know, not being able to travel because it's the middle of winter and it's too dangerous or something. There's very stagnant energy, and this has to do with some emotional stuff. So this is related to some deeper emotional stuff, and maybe this is things that you've dealt with before, traumas that haven't been fully resolved but you've started to recognize. There's definitely a lot of intensity here around your emotions and your feelings, and it seems like there's some kind of stagnancy with the emotions themselves. Let's see. Okay, Page of Swords. Okay, I'm getting the sense you're really sick of pretending. You're over it. You're done. You're like, I want to be myself. I want to be authentic. I want to be able to express who I am and not have to hide that or dim my light or who I am for other people. You're very much feeling this need to transform and to break out of your shell and express yourself fully as who you are. And this is coming from your spiritual self, your soul, your shadow. These deeper parts of you that need addressed are screaming to be let out. And that's part of what's gotten you off your path, is you've in the past felt that you had to hide these things in order to move forward in the physical world, in order to protect yourself, in order to keep things, you know, where they need to be. You felt like you really had to suppress who you were, and you're over it. You're done. Like, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be me and be okay with that. Interesting. So there was kind of some kind of loss of responsibility that has to do with this situation. So this could be recent past, this could be very distant past, but there was some situation where there was a lot of heaviness, a lot of burdens, a lot of responsibility, and you let that go. So I'm getting the sense that some of the spiritual work that you've done is maybe letting go of responsibilities that weren't yours to begin with. Maybe you were taking responsibility for other people and their emotions and their lives and their problems, and you have learned to start releasing that, or have learned to release that in general. And part of releasing those responsibilities and maybe expectations from other people is part of how you're learning to become more yourself and be more authentic and come from a place of self-worth and authenticity, right? And we're moving into, okay, you're starting to listen to your intuition again. So in the near future, not only are you hearing your intuition, or not only are you getting messages, you're taking action, you're going forward. So the messages that you've received or will receive spiritually, like from something like today, you will be moving forward, you will be taking action on it. So that's very positive. Okay, so there's a lot of fear around balancing responsibilities. This could be anything in the physical world where it requires a lot of physical effort. This could be that you have a business and a job, or you have two jobs, or you have a full-time job and you have children, but there's a lot of responsibilities in the physical world, and you're worried about your ability to handle them with grace. It seems like to do more than one thing at a time. It's very difficult, for sure. But you're a little afraid of taking on all these responsibilities at once. So the outside influence of other people. So you're probably surrounded by some toxic people is what I'm guessing here, because I'm seeing Judgment upside down. This is very karmic. This is very, you get what you give. But with it coming in upside down, this tends to be more negative. It's like you maybe have made poor decisions about the type of people that you keep around. And that's kind of really negatively influencing you. It could also be that you're surrounded with people who are like off their path or are creating more negative karma for themselves and not growing and evolving and aren't on the spiritual journey. So I'm getting the sense that there's like a lot of tension in your relationships around karma. And this could also just be having a lot of karmic relationships. This could be dating people that you have a lot of karma with from past lives, and it's very unpleasant and difficult to deal with them in this situation. So there's just kind of very karmic and kind of negative karmic underlying with the influences and relationships in your life currently. And this could even come from like a spiritual authority. So this could come from someone that you see as having authority on spirituality or religion in some way. So that might be having some difficult relations with people who are maybe very religious, in a negative way, and how it's affecting you at least is in a negative way, it seems. Yeah, I'm getting so much Sagittarius vibes here. Okay, so the results of your thoughts and actions, it looks like you're probably going to be spending quite a bit of time alone. Or if you are in a relationship, there's trouble brewing in the relationship based on your thoughts and actions currently. Because I'm seeing trouble with relationships, spending time alone, imbalance, a lack of connectivity. This might even be some competitiveness, separation, just some issues with relationships in general. It just seems like there's a imbalance in your life with relationships, especially karmically. Okay, so I'm seeing the end result is that you're not really thinking things through. You're not being very cold or calculated, which sometimes might be necessary, especially in situations when you're dealing with a particularly difficult or abusive person. It might be necessary to be a little bit more cold, to be a little bit more calculated in what you say and do or how you interact with this person for your sake and your safety. So I'm feeling like you're being a bit overly attached or emotional in the situation in these relationships for some reason. But you're ready for a new beginning. You're ready for a powerful new beginning. Like, you're ready to start setting boundaries and coming to terms with reality, which is great. But you don't know what that really is going to look like yet. And it's going to require you to work on your perspective and change your perspective around some things, especially around your emotions and your ability to attach to someone. So this might be, yeah, you definitely got some deep internal emotional stuff that you need to work through. There's some stuff getting in the way, things that need torn down internally, belief systems that need to be reprogrammed and torn down subconsciously, consciously in the subconscious. The need kind of torn down and reconstructed in order to meet your soulmate, to have a healthy relationship. So there's definitely some deeper emotional work here. So I know the physical world may not be reflecting what you're desiring currently, but it seems like that there's some deeper emotional work that needs done first in order for you to start seeing those results in your physical reality. And it definitely seems like it has a lot to do with love, right? And relationships. And this doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be romantic, and it might be something to look into, but this could be like family, friends, lovers. Like, this seems to be like an overall problem with relationships. And it may be that you have some relationship issues that are specifically negatively affecting your current relationship, romantic relationship. But it seems like it's much bigger than just romantic relationships. It seems like an issue in all relationships. So, And I did want to pull maybe an oracle card because I love oracle cards. Let's see. Is there any advice about what we can do moving forward for this romantic relationship? Any advice for romantic relationships for my collective? Let's see. Purpose. Oh, that's so interesting. The North Node and the Moon. Oh, there's all the chakras. Okay, so I'm getting the sense that it is very important for you to keep realigning, to keep aligning to your chakras and celestial energies and grounding your energies, and also coming to a place where you can see both sides of a situation, both from like a logical and intellectual place, as well as an emotional and connective place. So there seems like there's this deep work that needs to be done in relation to how you relate to masculine and feminine energies internally and externally, as well as connecting to your own higher purpose in this lifetime and your own emotional needs is very important for you at this time. But yeah, today's a great day for transformation. So this is a great day to look into those deeper, darker parts of ourselves in order to integrate the shadow, right? With the moon conjunct Pluto. So taking time to do that would be good. But let's look at the planetary aspects for the upcoming day for January 2nd. Right now we're at that conjunction between the moon and Pluto, but it's going to move off by tomorrow. So, let's see. I just need to find... There we go. Okay. Too many tabs open. Okay, so this is the chart for today. This was at 1 o'clock today. Let's see where it is now. Not much has changed. But let's see. Let's look at 12 a.m. tomorrow. Let's see what's going on then. Alrighty. So, of course, the moon is still going to be in Aquarius. So, we're still going to be connecting with this energy of rebelliousness, breakthroughs, all of that, right? However, tomorrow, the moon is going to do a couple things. So, it's going to trine Jupiter. So, this is really great for having those breakthroughs, especially in an expansive way, right? Jupiter makes things bigger. It makes them brighter. It makes them more obvious. It has a tendency to overindulge a bit. However, with these energies of breakthrough and spiritual information and connecting to groups and associations and friends, all of those beautiful things is being amplified when the moon comes to connect with Jupiter. So, let's see about when that's going to happen. So that's going to happen kind of around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, is we're going to have that trine to Jupiter, where there's this beautiful supportive aspect and opportunity for us to expand emotionally and have these deep emotional breakthroughs by expanding our minds, right? Because Jupiter is in Gemini. This is our ability to communicate. This is the way that we think, the way that we speak. So we're able to have these emotional breakthroughs with the moon in Aquarius through learning more information, learning more about communication, learning more about the way that we think and the way that we speak, the way that we talk to ourselves, our voice. It's very important that we expand our minds in order to expand our emotional capacity, right? It's also going to make this little sextile to Saturn right after that. So this is some opportunity to have some boundaries, to connect to grounding and structure. And we also have like semi-sextile the sun in the morning as well. So that's also bringing, insight and like light and focus and consciousness to this need for breakthroughs, especially because we have the sun moving through Capricorn. So all of our egos at this time of year are really focused on reality and the physical results that we're seeing. This is very good for reflecting on the previous year with the sun in Capricorn. We're looking at, what have I done? What does reality look like? What structures have I put in place? What are the results of my actions? What am I physically dealing with in the 3D world? Very Saturn, right? And that's also with the sun in Capricorn. That's what we're focused on. That's where the ego and the intellect and our rational brain and mind are focused, is on reality, right? And this will be different for each person depending on where it is in your chart. But in general, we're all more focused on reality and structure and time because of this. Now, let's see what else the moon is going to do throughout the course of the day. It is also going to come to trine Black Moon Lilith. So this is really also instigating those feelings of rebellion. This is very breaking free of oppression and limitations, especially around your femininity or dark feminine energies. This is very dark feminine, deep healing goddess energy with this, with Black Moon Lilith. So it's coming into contact with that and activating that. And this is something that we're seeing in our relationships. We're starting to rebel against unfairness and imbalances in our relationships, which is really good for us to kind of start to restructure our relationships in a more healthy manner, because this is probably things that have been really repressed and they're being brought to the surface with this. And this is going to be activated by the moon around 4 p.m. tomorrow. So on January 2nd around 4 p.m. the moon is going to be trining Black Moon Lilith and activating this need to have independence and freedom in our relationships and stirring those deeper traumas and desires. It will also sextile Chiron about 2 p.m. So this is with Chiron opposite Black Moon Lilith. There's a lot of healing around our dark feminine, around our ability to rebel and express ourselves, especially in a feminine way, and having to deal with taboos, especially around sexuality and being a woman. All of that is being influenced by this Chiron opposition to Black Moon Lilith. So this is starting to kind of heal some of those things. It's bringing those things up. It's triggering them. There's like an imbalance because of it. There's an imbalance between our healing and our need to rebel. But with the moon moving to sextile Chiron and Black Moon Lilith, this is helping us to kind of move towards healing. It's kind of easing the tension between our deepest wounds and our need for rebellion, especially in a dark feminine manner. So it's starting to kind of create breakthroughs that ease that tension as it's aspecting those planets. Or, well, asteroids, not planets. Now, as it gets later in the day, it is going to come to sextile Mercury at about 8 p.m. And we're coming into conjunction with Venus. It won't be exact until much later, but at 8 p.m., we've got Mercury sextiling the moon. And so this is bringing more awareness to the mind, the way that we think, the way that we speak, the way that we communicate. This is giving us an opportunity to think about our belief systems, because we've got Mercury in Sagittarius, which can be dogmatic and problematic, but it's also an opportunity for us to think intellectually about our belief systems, our religion, our culture, and all these things that have kind of created who we are, right? All these belief systems that are running in the background. This gives us a chance to actually think about them and to analyze them. And with the moon sextiling this is an opportunity for us to think about these things in order to free ourselves emotionally from cultural, religious, spiritual beliefs that no longer align with who we are, especially with this conjunction to Venus coming into aspect, considering that Venus is our values. And that our values may differ greatly from the things that we were taught previously, right? These belief systems and religions that we probably grew up with, but didn't necessarily agree with. Let's see. And right around the same time, the moon is also going to make a square to Uranus. So this is really activating that need for freedom and rebellion and to break free of these structures, especially when it comes to our values, because it is triggering Uranus and Taurus, right? Right, because you have this tension between the moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So Uranus is a very important planet for tomorrow and the entire time that the moon is in Aquarius. This is kind of like one of the most important aspects for tomorrow, which will happen between like 8 and 9 or 8 and 10 o'clock tomorrow night. This is going to activate that need to rebel based on our own value system, right? And with the moon in Aquarius, this is kind of our feelings around how we associate with other people and our need for emotional freedom with the moon in Aquarius, especially conjunct Venus. So this is probably going to be an issue around values that's going to come up very strongly around this time. So that could be some, especially with the moon or Mars opposite Pluto, especially in so closely, because they're at the same degree, right? This is really a good setup for some power struggles over our value systems that may be distinctly different from the people closest to us. So that's something to consider. Let's see. I don't believe it aspects anything else exactly until tomorrow, or until the day after tomorrow, until after midnight. So I also have the sun in conjunct Jupiter pretty much like all day tomorrow. So like there's going to be a lot of issues between like our ego around reality and the physical world, and between our need for growth and culture and intellectual pursuits around that for some reason. So this could lead to some maybe issues with religious people or religious figures in our life in some way, because this could be changes that we're making based on how our reality is manifesting. So that's something to keep in mind. And we're still in a Jupiter-Saturn square, so that's still really intense, giving this energy, especially with Jupiter kind of retrograding over this point, is creating like this tension between our need to expand, between the religious people in our lives and the authority figures in our lives, as well as our own personal boundaries, especially spiritually. So there's definitely some tension there, and that's definitely going to be activated this month quite a bit with with the sun going through Capricorn. It's really activating that Saturn, because we had that new moon in Capricorn. So this whole month, Saturn is really important. So we're really going to feel that tension between the need for expansion and our limitations. But this is really important for our ability to actually grow and evolve in life. Saturn square Jupiter is really uncomfortable, but it does give you a lot of power to expand, especially over the long term. They kind of balance each other out a little bit. But it is very uncomfortable, especially for my friends who are having their Saturn return right now, like I am, and also have Jupiter opposite, square Saturn natally. So, like, it's definitely kind of a tense time. All right. And that is the Daily Destiny Download, a daily cosmic reset for mind, body, and spirit. Make sure to take care of yourself in the coming days. There's a lot going on with the planets. Lots of potential for breakthroughs, but also lots of potential for power struggles as we try to step into these newer, freer versions of ourselves. We, of course, are likely to come up against resistance with people who would like us to remain the same and would not like to see us grow. So keep that in mind as you move forward, that there are sometimes it's going to be hard and you're going to have to let people go in order to move forward and actually grow and evolve. Sometimes breaking free means breaking away from relationships that are keeping you in the past. So take extra good care of yourself. Make sure to ground. It's very important. And beware that you may have some great insights over the coming next 24 hours or more, 24 to 36 hours or more. However, it may lead to some power struggles, especially over religion and values and how you relate to other people around those things. So I do wish you the best of luck. I will be back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the next Daily Destiny Download, which you can find me on Facebook at Danu. And I do this every day for now. That may change in the future. I'm testing this out, though, to see how it works. But yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.